Ready to give the people what they came for?
Yep, let's do it. Come on, guys, you didn't think we were going to give away the episode right there in the beginning. You're going to have to stick around and watch the whole thing. Today we are comparing this 2007 Hayabusa to this 2020 ZH2. High horsepower, fast bikes. We're going to get into it today, and let's take a look at the ZH2 and see what makes it special. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if you have missed our expert bike reveal, then you surely have missed this ridiculous motorcycle we have in the shop. This is our brand new giveaway bike, the Kawasaki ZH2. And for those of you who are wondering, yes, the H2 is derived from the legendary H2 that they made back in the 70s, and now they make, starting in 2015, this supercharged motorcycle. So yes, this is a 998cc supercharged inline 4, producing 197 horsepower and 102 foot-pounds of torque at 8,500 RPM. This thing is a ballistic missile when it comes to acceleration, and because of this naked stance, you really feel it. I'm in 4th gear here, and I just twist the throttle a little bit, and I'm absolutely flying through this road. It is such an awesome bike, but the best thing is that, in my opinion, there's no compromise with this thing. You can literally ride this all day long, super comfortable, all the controls feel awesome. This, for me, is one of the best sport naked bikes I have ever ridden, and it's my favorite bike in the Yammie Noob fleet as of right now.
Alrighty guys, you already know about the Hayabusa. This is probably my favorite motorcycle in the Yammie Noob fleet right now, just because of how much of an icon of motorcycling this thing really is. And for those of you who have been living under a rock and not seen a single one of our Hayabusa videos, this thing is a 2007 Hayabusa with a 1299cc inline 4 that's putting down 175 horsepower and a prodigious 101 foot-pounds of torque. Now, I know that doesn't sound like a lot, considering that we have modern bikes that are from the factory giving you 200 horsepower, but you got to remember that this is a product of its time, and that time was right after the Speed Wars. It's why it's such an iconic standard fast motorcycle. Everybody thinks of the Hayabusa as the highway monster, and when you get on it, it really does feel like it. It's a commanding motorcycle to ride. It's a very unique motorcycle to ride. And who doesn't love just big, stupid power out of an inline 4? I mean, this is definitely my favorite bike in the fleet. And if you haven't ridden a Hayabusa, you really owe it to yourself to take a quick rip.
All right, guys, I have to interrupt this program for today. We're bringing it to you with Manscaped. They're the proud sponsor of today's video. You guys know the deal. They make the finest in ball trimming products for your twig and berries and everything else in between. Listen to the sound of this bad boy. Oh my God, that's incredible. You too can have this amazing ball shaver in your pants right now. In fact, they also make these boxer briefs too. Hit them up in the link below.
Did you just rip your boxers off?
No. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Do it now. Okay, well, despite that was kind of weird, but anyways, back on track here. We've swapped bikes, and we're going back and forth over here, and honestly, for me, the thing I'm noticing when I go from like such a modern, fast bike like the ZH2 versus a more old school bike like the Busa, I mean, the controls here are so analog, so raw, so tactile. It's such a sweet ride, man. It's hard to not smile when you're on this thing.
Yeah, that's the thing that I love about it, is just how silly and goofy it is, given how much power it had. And it really is a relic, but this thing being so modern has that same sort of feel to it, even though it has ride-by-wire and quick shifter up and down and all that stuff. It has that just giggle factor, let's do a roll-on and see what happens kind of energy to it.
I gotta say too, when you think about this bike being a relic of its time, I mean, this must have blown people's minds when it came out,
Yeah. Like, I honestly believe that bike back in the day was every bit as impactful as something like the original H2 was when it, or well, not the original, but the revamped H2 when it came out with the supercharger. It was the one bike everybody was talking about all the time. It's, both of them are icons in that sense. The ZH2 being an icon of fast modern motorcycling, and the Busa being the benchmark to which all like fast cars are compared, you know?
Yeah, anything fast is like, well, did it beat a Busa, you know? So you gotta ask yourself.
I think the big thing that we need to discuss about these two motorcycles is just how big and dumb and stupid they are, but also how much fun they are because of it.
Yeah.
You know, they have this... The thing that intersects all these motorcycles, these really fast motorcycles, is that, you know, adrenaline rush, that speed, that thrill of going super duper quick. But it doesn't feel on this motorcycle like you want to just keep going with the power, even though it can, right?
Yeah.
It can go so much faster, but you don't feel like you want to.
Yeah, with the Hayabusa, it has this like old school fighter jet kind of appeal to it, and you know, it's weird because it's not faster than the ZH2. At least we have we're about to test and see how it actually fares, but it doesn't feel much faster or slower. But it does feel more dangerous. It does feel like you just want to do 200 miles per hour with it. And I mean, testers did find that a bone stock 1999 Hayabusa did go like 195 or something like that.
The highest recorded was 194 miles an hour.
That is unbelievable.
On a stock Hayabusa from 1992.
Yeah.
Or 99 they tested it, because it was the very
99.
first year it came out, and they got like the littlest guy they could find. They were just like, send it, go. Just go as fast as you can.
Yeah. Comes down to aero, it comes down to shape too. I'd be hard pressed to see a ZH2 doing much more than like a $140 or something like that, honestly.
Yeah. I really don't like going much faster than 100 on this, just the way that the wind hits you in the face. Ready to give the people what they came for?
Yep, let's do it.
Well, I say we do it one more time now that we've done the run, just to see, give it a little bit more.
Yeah, all right, you ready?
Yep. So I hit redline in second gear, whacked it up into third, and the front end just was like, all right, time to party.
Yep. It'll do that in fourth if you have enough testicular fortitude. It's fucking scary. But hey, two average riders on an average road, neck to neck. The Busa's still right there.
Yeah, this bike surges harder than the Busa does, but given time to wind up, the Busa will just go and go and go and
the top
go.
speed is idiotic. It's crazy.
Like, I definitely feel limited on this bike after, say, 95 miles an hour.
Yeah.
You just get the face full of wind blast, and it's just, it's not very pleasant.
Also, I guarantee you didn't just rip through a quarter tank of gas like I just did. I'm not kidding. I literally went down a quarter tank here.
You're just watching the needle go down as you speed up.
Yeah, I mean, dude, this bike, once it hits over 100, it's just like, set me free. And if you just, oh my God, it's crazy.
It'll just keep running. It's so silly. And the whole time it's doing it, it just is like, okay, this is good, but you can go faster. Come on, man, let's go.
Yeah, and it just keeps slicing through the air. God, it's ridiculous.
I mean, maybe they knew what they were doing when they put that thing together back in 1999.
Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't turn it into a Street Fighter Turbo. Maybe I should just turbo it and then, you know, do what it was destined to do.
Give it a 6-inch stretch and a big 240 section rear tire, man. But I guess that leads into a conversation about modification, which, you know, that's the Busa boy way, right?
Oh, this is infinitely modifiable, as we've demonstrated on countless He Came From Craigslist episodes. And I
mean, the Busa Boy modding scene is just never ending.
Well, why don't we pull over and have a quick chat about what you can actually do to both of these bikes to make them go stupid fast.
When it comes to modability, there's few bikes that do it quite like the Busa. This thing is just absolutely ridiculous in terms of how much power you can add to it, what you can add to it, all the lights and swing arms and turbos and fairings and Street Fighter kits. It's basically never ending. This bike's been around for over 20 years and Busa boys have had their time cracking the code on the Hayabusa. But the ZH2 is a little different, right?
Yeah, so the ZH2 is basically a brand new motorcycle, so much so that they haven't even figured out how to get into the ECU on this motorcycle and remove some of the Euro emission stuff. I mean, it's too new, the computer tech is too new, and really all you got is you have new air boxes and new exhausts for this motorcycle. So you're really kind of limited by what you have from the factory because you can't really tinker with it. And that kind of goes with a lot of modern motorcycles nowadays.
Yep.
Your ability to tinker with them isn't what you got out of this. I mean, this has basically infinite power scalability. So it's really kind of a give and take. Do you want a motorcycle that is ready to go right out of the box, or do you want one that you can just keep going faster and pushing more limits with?
That's true, but going fast in a straight line is one thing. I think we got to get these out in some tight, twisty turns and see if we've made any progress over this new age Busa Boy bike over here.
Alrighty guys, so we all know motorcycles aren't just about going fast in a straight line. That's obviously one of the coolest parts about them, but when the going gets real twisty, how do they feel? And despite going through some of these real tight uphill corners here, how do you feel on the Busa?
I feel like I'm working really hard. That corner was pretty dang tight. This is not what the Busa was really meant to do, and you feel it. The bike's not that much heavier than the ZH2, but the ZH2's weight feels inconsequential, but this motorcycle never feels small. It's always a big pig, no matter what you're doing, really.
Well, let me ask you as well, because one thing that I noticed jumping from the Busa to the ZH2 is, you know, the Busa, despite having more amenable sport touring-esque ergos, it, very tight over here.
Yeah. That's one where you, on the Busa, you just gotta come to a crawl to go through it.
So on a bike like the ZH2, the foot pegs are much lower than the Hayabusa, and it's like the Hayabusa, it was designed, you know, to be sort of a sport touring bike, but also designed to be a top speed missile. So do you notice the foot peg?
Yeah, I really do. It makes it feel a little bit more cramped, especially when you're going low and slow like this. The bike is, you know, it's spread out in a weird way. The reach to the bars is pretty long. Your weight is over the tank. It's work to ride the Hayabusa through a twisty road like this.
Yeah.
And I got to imagine the ZH2, you know, you're still having to mind the throttle a little bit, but it just feels like a Z650 when you're going through stuff like this.
Yeah, it's really not very difficult to negotiate this bike through a set of corners. Again, just don't get on the throttle because you're going to go to warp speed. But beyond that, it really does feel just like a very normal naked bike that you can just kind of chunk around.
So, for the foot pegs, you feel very compressed on this motorcycle at all times.
Yeah.
Because
You're
meant
definitely in
to do
that full
this.
tuck.
You're just always meant to be here.
Yep.
You know, admittedly not at 30 miles an hour, but more like 200. But it's still meant for you to get tight and compressed in. But it's not like a GP bike where you're meant to drag your knee. You know, you're meant to just go straight on a salt flat, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
But, you know, the ZH2, it's just so much more comfortable and easy to negotiate through these corners, and I really miss that on this bike.
The thing about it, too, is, you know, there's 2 points I wanted to make. Is number one, the Hayabusa, being that it's a 2007, even the new ones that are sold on the Gen 2s, I mean, that suspension package and that chassis and that frame is just older. There's just no way around it. The stuff they're selling you is just older spec stuff and is not top shelf stuff. And you know, we've come a long way in terms of motorcycle frame designs, and the ZH2 really shows it. And the second thing is, because of all those changes, man, the ZH2 is genuinely like nimble and flickable and fun in a way that you'd never expect such a powerful bike to be. You know, like right
Yeah.
coming up here on this corner, I'm sure the Busa feels like a big handful. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm having to modulate the clutch. I'm riding the rear brake. It's a lot of work going through these tight twisties.
Yeah, and for me, it's kind of like I'm just like in a big parking lot or something. I don't know. It's actually pretty easy to use.
I mean, that I am very jealous of that. It's definitely something that I wish I had on this motorcycle.
I mean, Spite, you chose the Busa boy life. It did not choose you, so.
But I guess that gets down to the meat of today's video is, if you're a Busa boy, which bike is right for you?
I think if you're a Busa boy, accept no substitute, you know?
Yeah.
Get that Busa boy experience, get into that $20,000 modification package that you're going to do to it, you know? Get into the whole thing. But if you are a more discerning rider, let's say, perhaps you want something a little bit more flexible and usable, the ZH2, I'd say, punches. It gives you that same adrenaline, stupid giggle factor of a powerful motorcycle in a package you can live with every single day. And honestly, I know this bike is 17 grand, which is a lot of money for a lot of people. That's a stupid amount of money to spend on a motorcycle. But you're going to spend way more than that tuning and modifying and getting a Busa to handle and do what this thing does. Would you agree?
Oh, totally. 100%. And there's no way that this thing, without a ton of money and effort and time put into it, could even get close to that thing bone stock, which is crazy.
Yep.
So if you're a weekend Busa boy, you want to go fast, but you want to be comfortable and you're not all about that Busa boy life, the ZH2 is the better choice. It's an easier bike to have a lot of fun with in that, crazy, stupid, fast vein.
Yeah.
The Busa, you have to put so much effort into, and you really gotta love it. It's you really gotta be down the red pill route with the Hayabusa to.
I think the Hayabusa is the black pill, man. You just take it and you just hunker down and die.
So, are you a weekend Busa boy who wants the ZH2, or are you a black pill Busa boy?
Well, I do own a Busa, so I think I'm a black-pilled Busa boy. But honestly, I mean, the ZH2 is completely. I never knew a naked bike could be this good and this fun and this fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care about doing 150 on the highway or 186 like the R6 boys say they do. So for me, 0 to 100, the ZH2 is freaking awesome, and then I can ride it home or to the office or wherever I need to, and it's still a normal bike. So this thing's fantastic.
Yeah, I have to give it to you that bike is it's literally better in every way, except for that
Top
straight line speed.
Yeah.
But, there is something in my, lizard brain that's just like, this is the icon, this is the Hayabusa, accept no substitute, go fast!
Yeah.
And, you really do have to admit that if you're rolling around on a Hayabusa, everybody knows what bike it is. Even if it's a normie, there's like, oh shit, that's a Hayabusa. You have to explain what the ZH2 is.
Yeah, even the dude that you went into the battery center that you were talking to about getting a new battery for the Hayabusa because it didn't want to start this morning, he asked you what bike you're on. You said Hayabusa, and what did he say? He was like, oh shit, right?
Yeah, it's like, oh shit, what did you do to your Busa?
Yeah, it's a whole subculture, man. And, if you're into doing, I don't condone it, but if you're into, like, street racing and that kind of stuff, the Busa's a way better choice than ZH2. If you're into, like, competition drag strip racing, the Busa's a fantastic platform. But if you want a normal, good motorcycle, the ZH2 beats it in every other way, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the ZH2 is the Busa killer insofar as you want to be a normal street rider.
Yeah.
But when you want to push the boundaries, push the limits of speed, I don't think the Busa's been beat yet.
I don't think so, man. It's still, like you said, that iconic motorcycle, and we're all waiting with bated breath on that Gen 3 to see what it does and what it looks like and how it's going to perform, but it's still the icon, man. It's still the big bad Busa. Hard to beat it.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, guys, I think that's going to wrap it up for today's video. In conclusion, the ZH2, while it is a fantastic motorcycle, if you are about that diehard Busa boy life, if you do love top speeds, drag racing, and highway pulls, the Busa is probably still a better choice, to be honest, and you can get them for dirt cheap and modify them at your own pace and leisure. But yeah, the Hayabusa certainly doesn't do this.
I love watching that front wheel lift and it just wiggle. Oh, that's such a good bike.
Yeah, it's fantastic. All right, guys, remember, we're giving away this ZH2. It is a pretty ridiculous motorcycle we got going on over here, so be sure to hit the link down below. Thanks again for Manscaped for supporting this video. We hope you've enjoyed this one. We'll catch you on the next one. See you later.
You've made it to the end of a Yammie Noob video. Did you like what you saw? Do you want to see more of it? Check it out, right here, just like magic, waiting for you. Click this little square right here. More memes, more Yammie, more of my face. Isn't that great?